Hi all, it's JK here with another video. Sorry it's been a while, just very busy as usual. Going to try and do a video once a week. So this video is about adaptive cruise control and how safe is it, how reliable is it, can we really relax when ACC is activated. As you can see, I'm using it right now. There's a car that's just popped out there, hasn't caused any problems. I'm getting a lot of, well, I say a lot of people, I've had a couple of people come up to me and say, Jay, when it comes to ACC, you're advised to only use it on open country roads. It simply doesn't work in urban traffic. Now, I personally have experienced the opposite. I found that in rush hour traffic it works brilliantly. I found that on the motorway it works brilliantly. I'm going to turn it off now because we're heading into a town. And I personally have had no problems with it, but I've heard plenty of stories where people have they've been driving along, say they've been driving along on a motorway, and then a bag flies across the road, blocks the radar sensor in the front, and then the car comes basically an emergency stop. Another guy told me he was driving along on the M1, I think it was. There was a vehicle on the slip road to his left, coming into a right turn, slight right bend or turn, and the ACC saw it as an obstruction. So again, it basically put the emergency brakes on, and it got the car coming to a near stop. Had he not overridden it, and it would have led to a rear end shunt. I had another guy comment on a video the other day saying he had an experience where he was driving in an urban environment. There was a bus to his left. The bus started pulling out, but as far as he was concerned, there was plenty of room where you wouldn't need to make an emergency brake or, you know, try and avoid an obstacle. And what happened was he claims that the bus pulled out. It was still within its the lay-by, and he says that his car put an emergency brake situation on. Now that's never happened to me. I have used ACC a lot in urban environments. I use it a lot in Mansfield. You saw my YouTube video where I was in Mansfield. I used nothing but ACC. Let's just put it on again now actually. I was in Mansfield using ACC. Whenever the car came to a set of traffic lights, the car stopped with the car in front. I then had to either hit the resume button or the gas pedal to start again. Also, I'm pretty sure I've been in situations on the A1M northbound where there's certain sections where you get three lanes or 4 lanes at one point, if I remember correctly, and you'll get a situation where you're driving in probably the middle lane, you're doing a steady 70, a car will undertake you, literally undertake you, come underneath you, come into your lane here, and then go into the far right lane, and then start driving off. As you can see, ACC is slowing down for me. I'm not using the brakes at all. Now in that situation, what happens to me is, I get the car icon here on the central icon. The car realises there's a car in front, but it also realises the car is going slightly faster than I am, so my car slowly pulls back. Other situations are, again, the A1M, I'll be in the leftmost lane, you'll get a guy come flying past you in the right, you'll then slow down, turn off in front of you, and then go off onto the slip road. You know, that happens quite a lot. I'm sure a lot of you have had that happen to you. And again, all that happens with me is, the car icon appears here, and the car carries on. It doesn't do any emergency braking thing or anything like that. Now the other thing is, when I'm driving this car, I keep maximum distance to the car in front when I've got ACC on, and it is a bit of a ball ache, because when it's busy on the A1M or the M1, you get people squeeze into your gap. If you remember back in the days when you learned to drive, only a fool breaks the 2-second rule. So I like to keep the 2-second gap, because, you know, reaction time between what you see, what happens here in your mind, and then how you react, there's a good delay, quite a good delay. So, you know, I like to keep a good distance, but a lot of people, for some reason, they like to tailgate. They like to be so in your boot it's unreal. Where I had one guy a couple of weeks ago, again, A1, I believe this was the M62, is it? The M62 one between Manchester and Leeds. He was so in my boot. He was an Audi driver and he looked a bit dodgy. I'm pretty sure I've seen him on police interceptors on Dave. He was that close, I couldn't see his headlamps, but I could literally see him. But he wasn't pissed off or anything, he was just driving like that. And then a few weeks ago, it happened on this road as well, where I was on this road, there was a girl in a polo behind me, right in my boot, and you'd have thought she was angry with you and trying to aggravate you. But when we came to the island, this roundabout coming up, it splits into 2 lanes, she came next to me and smiled at me. You know, she had no problem, she was just driving normally as far as she was concerned. So where tailgating is concerned, you know, people getting worried of when the ACC kicks in, emergency brake kicks in, then someone rear ends you. At the end of the day, people shouldn't be tailgating you, they shouldn't be that close. And if you notice now, when you do a lot of motorway driving, or if you're on busy roads, you see a lot of people now, they're starting to have tailgate cameras. And I'm tempted to get one set up myself. I think it'd be interesting for YouTube, never mind for insurance reasons and prosecution and whose fault it was sort of situations. So I personally have never ever had a problem with ACC. Now, getting back to the A1M example I explained, it is possible, and I can't remember off the top of my head, because although I do use ACC a lot, I don't trust it 100%. I have always got my foot over the brake in hairy situations. If you saw my last video, you recall that I was going on about how good ACC is. It was pouring it down with rain, I was behind a lorry. That's true, I was doing that, and that was using ACC, but I did have my wits about me. I did have my foot on the brake ready for an emergency. I did keep looking over my shoulder and checking my blind spots. Just because you've got automated systems doesn't mean you should completely sit back, relax, possibly fall asleep. Now, I believe one guy told me of an example where the autopilot within the Tesla caused someone to have a fatal accident. Apparently the guy, and I've seen a couple of poker guys do it that own these cars, they're driving, they're literally like this with their hands, drinking coffee, and the car is steering for them, you know, it's autopilot. And I personally would never give the car that much faith in its capabilities. You know, being a software engineer myself, being a programmer myself, bugs always occur. The complexity behind these systems, you know, they may have been tested, they may have been user tested, foolproof tested, quality assured tested, but there's always going to be errors in the software. So my advice is regarding ACC, yeah, use it, but don't have total faith in it. Don't then sit there with your arms crossed like that, with your feet up, talking to your missus, to your kids. Just don't do it. ACC is there to relieve some of the stress. To me, the ultimate time to use ACC is rush hour traffic. Obviously, keep minding for junctions, for roundabouts, because, you know, at the end of the day, it can only deal with the information in front of it as it happens. Whereas as drivers, we can assume or we can expect things to happen. You know, I could be driving along here, and all of a sudden a tractor might fly across with a trailer and then break down. And I could be doing 60, 70 miles an hour. Now, ACC wouldn't be expecting that. It wouldn't see the tractor in that field belting across to go across the road. But you would. You would see that happening. So you'd think to yourself, right, there's a potential hazard. So I'm going to slow down, take ACC off by tapping on the brake, which suspends ACC, slow down a little bit and prepare to brake. And also doing that, because you've done that, when you tap the brakes, it alerts the driver behind you that for some reason you've activated your brakes, maybe something's going to go, you know, something's happening, maybe he can see something I can't. But the other thing is, when I test drove this amazing car, ACC was what sold it to me. Me and the dealer, we'd done some B-road action. If you haven't seen the video, the test drive video, I'll link it in this video now. We did some nice B-road sprinting, then we did some nice motorway work, and on the motorway, I'm not sure that's in the video actually, I think I only focused on the B-road stuff, but he told me to put ACC on, and it was my first ever experience of any automated driving system. And he said, trust me Jay, let go of the paddles and just sit back. And it drove itself, and I was so impressed. It was just another reason I wanted to buy this car. And he sold it to me as being, imagine a Monday morning on the way to work, you're in rush hour traffic, you're feeling a little rough because you've had a heavy weekend of partying and drinking, which most people do over the weekend here in the UK and possibly in the US and Europe, and you're in rush hour traffic, you've got coffee here, and start, stop, you're not on the ball. Just imagine ACC doing all that for you. And I have used ACC to do that for me, and it really does work in those situations. But, as people have been telling me, there are situations where it can error. Now, the only thing I can put it down to is, it's literally a case of, it's an error where perhaps my software hasn't come across it yet. You know, it's probably a line in the code somewhere that hasn't been executed yet, because I've done such little mileage and only drive it for pleasure, that maybe it's a situation that I've not been in yet, and the ACC literally can't comprehend it. It's just, there's no business logic in there to deal with that situation. So, but I personally, my experience with ACC is, it's been brilliant, and I do rely on it, but I don't fully trust it. Never, ever, ever fully trust it. It's the same as when I'm in a taxi. If I'm in a taxi getting a lift somewhere, especially how they drive like madmen sometimes, I just don't trust them. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, Jesus, this guy's going to crash. I mean, we were coming back from Leeds. We'd been to the casino in Leeds a few weeks ago. And this guy, who was belting it back to Skipton from Leeds, literally, he must have been doing 80 miles an hour easy on, you know, very narrow roads. And I was thinking to myself, because I wasn't drunk, but everyone else was drunk, and I was like thinking, blimey, this guy's going to kill us. He's going to kill us. You know, I was so worried. So that's basically, or sort of, how I feel about ACC. I don't think it's ever going to kill me, but I always, at the back of my mind, I always have my foot over my brake in a hairy situation. Hairy situation being cars undertaking you, cars overtaking you, cars coming in front of you. Always prepared. So yeah, that's my advice regarding ACC. Don't fully trust it, enjoy it. If you're getting problems, as mentioned, where ACC emergency braking kicks in when you believe it shouldn't, try and get the dealer to check the software out if you can. It sounds like it could be a software fault. Get the dealer to test the radar out in the front, and if you're still getting problems like that, then don't use ACC, unfortunately. It's just not reliable enough in that situation. And at the end of the day, although it's a nice feature, your life is a bit more important than making sure you get your money's worth out of any features the car offers. So yeah, that's it basically. It's Friday, it's a lovely, absolutely gorgeous morning. The weather hasn't been like this for a very long time. Just arrived at work, so hopefully tonight I'll get a bit of B-road action in with this car. Might film it actually. So yeah, once again, cheers.